What's up, my guys and geeks? As you know, I love the Harry Potter franchise, and while the books are probably my favorite part of all the Harry Potter content that we have, I also appreciate the films for the unique visual medium that they bring to the Harry Potter franchise and for the amazing experience that they provide. So today I thought I'd jump in and rank all of the Harry Potter films from the worst to the best. Alright, if you go on to enjoy this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell to see the next time I upload an awesome video. And be sure to comment down below your ranking of all the Harry Potter films. Rank them from worst to best, or just tell me what was your favorite film and what was your least favorite film. Now, before we get started, just to be clear, I like all the Harry Potter films. I think they're all great films. I appreciate them, I enjoy them, I have a fun time watching all of them. It's just some of them do their job better than others. And with that in mind, in 8th place, we do have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
The Goblet of Fire!
And Goblet of Fire, in my opinion, is the film that does the worst job adapting the source material.
How did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? How did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Because it removes all these crucial elements from the books. If you look at my ranking of all the Harry Potter books, full video by clicking the card, you see that Goblet of Fire is actually higher up on my list as one of my more appreciated and more enjoyed books. But this movie just stripped away a lot of the elements and details that made this book so great. They removed the entirety of the Quidditch World Cup, which I still just can't quite understand why they thought that was a good idea. They removed all of the obstacles and intrigue from the maze, the third task, which was an amazing part of the book, but is just reduced to like some mist and shrubs here. They removed a central part of the mystery of whether Barty Crouch Jr., first of all, what happened to him, and then second of all, if he was really guilty of the crime of helping torture the Longbottoms into insanity.
Last boy who went into the Department of Mysteries never came out.
The book did such an amazing job setting that up with that incredibly tense scene where Barty Crouch Jr. is in the courtroom and he's pleading, begging his father, believe me, I'm innocent. I didn't do this. You know me. You know that I couldn't do this. But in the film, they remove all of that to have Barty Crouch Jr. literally sticking his tongue out at his father and basically admitting that it was him.
Hello, Father.
And they removed so much of what made the books great. I understand why they cut things like Winky and Dobby and SPEW, even though I would have liked to see those. And the Blasted Scroots, which makes no sense. I understand they might not have had time to show all of that within the film, which is why it might be a good thing that they'll be able to expand on that within the Harry Potter TV series. But we just miss so much of what made the book great, and because they did such a bad job at adapting the book to a film, while this is still an enjoyable film, it's not really the Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire story that everybody knows and loves.
How did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
And next up in 7th place is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
Who's the Half-Blood Prince?
And for both these two films at the bottom of the list, I feel like they're just the ones that really dropped the ball when it came to adapting the source material.
But not me.
The Half-Blood Prince is, depending on the day you ask me, might be my favorite Harry Potter book. It's right up there with Deathly Hallows in my top 2 for sure. But this film, again, just takes away so much of what makes the book great. It's not as offensive as Goblet of Fire. This is still the same basic, bare-bones story. But they removed all of the detail that makes it such a wonderful and rich story. They removed much of the mystery about the Half-Blood Prince by removing so many of the scenes with Harry interacting with that book.
I'm the Half-Blood Prince.
They removed so much of us delving into Voldemort's past and getting to learn about him and understand him and getting to know him better.
I can make bad things happen to people who are mean to me.
They removed so much of the Quidditch aspects and all of the different things that made this film amazing, and then some things that they did keep. They decided to put a greater emphasis on the romance in this film than was in the book. But then they dropped the ball on that. They made Harry and Ginny into possibly the cringiest couple to ever be in any live action project.
Shoelace.
And while they weren't as bad with Ron and Hermione and Lavender's love triangle, which they turned into a love square with Cormac McLaggen for some reason,
think you could introduce me to your friend Granger?
it's still just they didn't do it as well as the books did. So they took out so much stuff that made the book enjoyable, and what they did leave in, they didn't execute properly. So it's a lot closer to the bottom of the list. But next up in 6th place, we've got Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Known as the Chamber of Secrets.
And these next two films on the list, I appreciate, I enjoy. I think they're the epitome of what your base expectation for a Harry Potter film should be. They competently adapt the source material. It's just the Chamber of Secrets, to me, is not one of my favorite Harry Potter stories. And it's kind of lower down on my list for the book rankings. And also, it's kind of burdened by the duty of setting up so much of what's going to happen later on in the series. And I just feel like it's a lot slower and more meandering of a project. And also, this is the longest film adapted from literally the shortest book in the series. So there was just a lot of unnecessary stuff that they probably could have trimmed down. This is one place where it might have made sense to cut down a couple of elements.
Welcome back, Hermione.
It's good to be back.
But it just feels kind of long, but it's a perfect, brilliant, almost direct adaptation of the book to the screen, and that's why I think it's the epitome of what a Harry Potter film should at base level strive to be, because it does its job. It adapts the book into the film. It's just that's not one of my favorite books. Next up in 5th place, we've got Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's or Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you live.
The Sorcerer's Stone.
And again, this is a great film. I appreciate it. It does a wonderful job introducing us to the wizarding world and our main characters, but it's not one of my favorite stories. These two films are pretty much interchangeable for me. I just happen to enjoy the plot of Sorcerer's Stone a bit more than I do the plot of Chamber of Secrets. But it's just these films don't have as much of the action and adventure and excitement as comes in the later films, which is understandable. Harry's a younger wizard. He doesn't even perform spells in the first movie or book.
You'll be okay, Harry. You're a great wizard. You really are.
But there's not as much of the excitement and energy that's brought in the later films, and so they're both technically in the bottom half of the list. But moving on to the top half of Harry Potter films, we've got in 4th place Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Wait! I did my waiting! 12 years of it! In Azkaban!
And for me, this is the point where the film series took a turn into a lot more enjoyable for me personally, because while I appreciate the first two films, they are most definitely, as are the books they're based on, meant for a more general, wide viewing audience with a lot of younger children. And while this film is still appropriate for younger children, it brings in a lot more of the maturity and changing darkness that is pervasive throughout the rest of the series. It brings in, with Dementors, it quite literally brings in the soul-sucking darkness.
Dementors are vicious creatures. They will not distinguish between...
But it just brings in the maturity and serious tone of the later Harry Potter books, and I appreciate that mature and serious tone, and I like that more than I like the more lighthearted doo-doo-doo tone of the first couple of movies, and that's why this one is a bit higher up on the list. Alright, before I go ahead and give you my top 3 favorite Harry Potter films, don't forget to comment down below with your ranking of the Harry Potter films. Rank them from worst to best, or just tell me what were a couple of your favorite and a couple of your least favorite. But in third place, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Together they make the Deathly Hallows.
And I understand the common criticism this film gets for being a setup film, but for me, the individual moments within this film are just incredibly enjoyable, and I love getting to see them. One of the reasons this film is so high on the list is the Malfoy Manor scene, which is just incredibly interesting and intriguing to me, and I just love getting to see it.
You're gonna kill me! Dobby never meant to kill. Dobby only meant to maim or seriously injure.
It's one of my favorite parts of this movie, and it's a pretty much direct adaptation from the books. Dobby's death right at the end of this film is heart-wrenching.
Harry Potter.
Of course, and it just provides so many amazing moments, different things like Harry and Hermione going to Godric's Hollow, and all these other amazing moments. And so while I understand a lot of people not liking it as much because it's a setup film, for me, even though it's a setup film, I still appreciate the individual moments so much that it ends up higher on the list. Next up, in second place, we've got Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.
Original Order of the Phoenix.
And this does a wonderful job of not only translating the book to film, but also improving on it, making it better, making it so much more enjoyable of an experience. It takes what the book's trying to do and makes it even better in a visual medium. Harry's feeling isolated in the book. They visually show to perfection his isolation in the movie. There's this theme of Harry learning to trust and be more reliant upon his friends and not wanting to do everything by himself. The film takes that kind of side idea in the book and turns it into a full-blown theme of the film.
Well, if I were you-know-who, I'd want you to feel cut off from everyone else. You're not as much of a threat.
And you'll never know love or friendship. And I feel sorry for you.
And then just Umbridge is as despicable and just disgusting as she was in the book. Just a perfect translation of that really made me want to, like, just get her off the screen. I can't stand her.
Do something! Tell them I mean no harm!
I'm sorry, Professor. I must not tell lies.
And that's exactly what she's supposed to do. And then the highlight of this film has to be the Battle of the Department of Mysteries. My 3 favorite battles in the Harry Potter franchise are third, the Battle at the Department of Mysteries, second, the Battle of the Astronomy Tower, and finally, the Battle of Hogwarts. But they left the Battle of the Astronomy Tower out of the 6th book, another reason why it's so low on the list. And so this is my second favorite battle inside of the Harry Potter film franchise. And it's just so incredible to get to see it, and they improve upon it by keeping the kids together and by making it more fast-paced and action-driven as opposed to the kind of meandering finale that we got within the book. And then it has what honestly may be the greatest singular duel in the entire Harry Potter film franchise, including these 8 films and the Fantastic Beasts projects, with Voldemort versus Dumbledore.
It was foolish of you to come here tonight, Tom.
Which is just such a beautiful duel and really encapsulates why anybody would want these books adapted to film or television, so they can see the spectacle of these fights, so that those words can float off the page and become visual. So for me, this film, Order of the Phoenix, epitomizes the maximum potential to take a book and not only directly adapt it, but improve upon it as well. But as was kind of predictable, in first place is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part II.
Have anything to do with the Deathly Hallows?
And this film just has the benefit of being the payoff to everything that's been built up over the last 6 books and 7 films. It's just an incredible experience. The Battle of Hogwarts has amazing moments, from epic duels and amazing final fights between Harry and Voldemort, to the heart-wrenching losses of characters like Fred and Tonks and Remus.
And Remus, your son.
And it's just so amazing to get to see all those moments. And then you can also feel the emotion not only of these characters, but also of the actors behind them, finishing what for them has been a decade-long experience, what for the child actors has been basically their entire childhood coming to an end. And they put all that emotion into their performances, and different things, just like Snape's reveal to be a good guy,
You have your mother's eyes.
and the downfall of Bellatrix and Voldemort.
Not my daughter, you.
Just such amazing moments that actually just make this the ultimate Harry Potter film. But alright, that's my ranking of all 8 Harry Potter films. Be sure to join me in the comments down below with your ranking. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you can see the next time I upload an awesome video. If you want to see what Lord Voldemort's Patronus would be if he could produce one, then you can click on this side of the screen. And if you want to see why Professor Trelawney actually had a time turner while she was teaching at Hogwarts, you can click on this side of the screen. But you only got 3 seconds because this video is about to end. Adios!